Everybody, let's start. I'm a little bit under the weather. I've got flu that is refusing to go away. So the meeting today was convened because on Friday, when we were supposed to meet with the other panelists and the minister, the three panelists and the minister were not available for different reasons. So the minister did not attend the meeting on Friday and indicated that she had a program in the Eastern Cape. You colleagues spoke on the matter. I read her apology to yourselves. You were visibly not happy with the apology from the minister. And after all the deliberations, democracy prevailed. You, colleagues, voted that we must give her one of the days that she had proposed, which was today. And I must write to her. I must write to the Director General. I must write to the three panelists, which are DG Ngwenya, Chief of Staff Simane, and Advisor Solani, which I did write to them. And they are all here, except the DG who flew in from China last night, flew in this morning. He should be coming in just now. And yeah, here he is. Like I said, he flew in from China last night. And I see he's bought new glasses. Well done, DG. DG has bought new glasses. Welcome, DG. Honorable Khakhau says ni hao. So welcome, DG. We had received an apology that despite the claims that this is the best run city, the traffic is terrible. We had indicated that you are stuck in traffic from the airport. And so is Honorable Msozana, who have told us, Honorable Lonzi, ourselves here, we go through it every day. So we understand the traffic is terrible. So I was giving feedback or background on what would have happened. So the meeting resolved yesterday that, on Friday, that we must convene the meeting today. We applied on Friday, we got approval. Before the meeting ended on Friday, I'd announced that we had received an approval and will be sitting today. The approval only ends at 1 o'clock because we do have a 3-line whip at 2 o'clock. The president made an announcement last evening indicating that he has decided with the powers vested in him. And unlike some will claim that it was because of their pressure, the president exercised his powers vested in him by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. He made an announcement yesterday and replaced Minister Nkabane with Minister Manamela. And Minister Nkabane was supposed to be here today. So here's what I've discussed with legal now. I want you to listen so that when you want to raise any issues, you don't raise political points, political issues. You deal now with legal matters. One, the proceedings of the meeting would have been that the panelists, they were going to read their letters into the records, and then we're going to give the minister. There's a principle in law called audi alteram pater, where there are those who speak and then you give somebody an opportunity to respond, because at the end of the meeting we're going to make or to deliberate and take a resolutions whether the meeting would have the minister would have lied or misled Parliament. And in order for you to arrive at at that point, would have allowed her to respond to the issues that would have been raised by the panelists. The minister or the president has now exercised this right and has removed the minister. We no longer have Dr. Nkabane as the minister. We have Buti Manamela as the minister. And therefore, our conversation with legal is that it will not make legal sense for us to get the panelists to read their letters into the records, because there will be no right of reply given to the minister. And therefore, the advice is that we thank them for coming, and we release them, and then we continue with the second part, because there were other parts, the DG, that members wanted to raise with the office. Those ones falls under the department, and we'll still need to continue with that part. So that is what is going to to happen. And I'm saying this is even when you argue it, we want you to argue, must tell us legally this is where we are wrong. Political statements are very nice and good, but now we're dealing with a legal matter. And then when I'm going to note you, you're going to speak on this matter, and it must be clear that if you say you don't agree with the proposal, on what legal principle are you basing this thing on? So I'm going to note you. I'll start with you, Honorable Zondo. I'll follow with you, Honorable Khakhau. I'll go to Kize, and I'll go to Governor. I'll go to Desiree. I'll go to Nkabane, and then I'll end with Souls in this round. In that order, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to make a point, a legal point here. Who's calling me now? So I'm opening my clock. Honorable Sieba.
No, thanks, Chair. Greetings to you, greetings, DG, honorable members of Parliament. Greetings to everyone. Mine, Chair, I think, Chair, now you have new tendency, Chair, to nesizulu sithi usifaka amahanisi senze ihashi ngesizulu sithi usifaka amahanisi manje as members I think we have a right to express our thinking on the matter, and not being directed to say you have to say this and not go to this direction. I think we got into this matter because there was a public cry of some inconsistency or a feeling of that there are some processes that were flaws in the process. And then when we were deliberating on that, then it's come to a point whereby the minister, we felt he lied under oath or mispresented the facts. then that is the second part of this process. But the first part was to get into the bottom of the process, of which the key role players, I think they are in the house today, of the process that made the minister to mislead the public. So I think when it was not our aim to remove the minister or for the president to remove the minister, we will say then because the president has removed the minister, then it's okay, the process is okay. That is not the case. We have a case here. We have a key role players who will continue to play that role that they are playing in the department. And we need to get to the bottom of that chair. That is my take on the matter.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Chair, firstly, it would serve this committee great justice to give us the legal quotes that legal is basing their decision on, particularly because once we have that, then I would call for a caucus break for all parties to consult their legal opinion on this, because it does not make sense. One, this meeting was called in the same way that the previous meeting was called, where Advocate Nkabane and Nkabane were present, and we were able to engage them and ask them without the minister there. There's nothing that is stopping us from engaging Solani, from engaging Simane, from engaging Ngwenya, and the whole lot. There's also nothing stopping this committee from calling Nobuhle Nkabane back in her capacity as a private citizen to come account for the role that she played as part of this committee's efforts to holding previous and current administrations accountable for the work that has to do with the state's coffers. So if Nobuhle is not here today, if Dr. Nkabane is not here today to respond, in the same way she wasn't there last week Friday and we were able to engage others, I move that we continue to engage the people who are here today. We thoroughly do what we did the last time, and then she be called back and come. In the same way that this parliament has in the past exercised its muscle and teeth to summon people who sit outside of the executive to come and account before parliament. There's nothing stopping our job here altogether. And I also want to caution, Chairperson, that when legal gives an advice to parliament on how parliament must conduct itself, it must apply itself not in alignment to a rigid way of viewing the role of parliament, but do so fairly in the spirit of what this parliament, and not just this committee, is supposed to do. Whether Nobuhle Nkabane is minister or not does not change the fact that she lied, she committed fraud and a statutory offense. The law will deal with that, it's good, but these people are here and they must respond.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to the members of the committee and the members from the department. Yes, Chair, it is only fair to give the members who were not present last week to also read their statement for record, perhaps to also engage them. Even though the minister may have been asked to stand down, but they are still officials of the department. We need to solicit some facts around them, engage, and see what could be the way forward. Chair, thank you.
So for that, I get that minute that you didn't use. Chairperson, I agree with my colleague, Honourable Khakhau, that we actually take a break to get our own legal advice. We're busy communicating. But here's the point, Chairperson. Every single person that we summon to appear before the committee was summoned on their role. It's got nothing to do with the previous minister or the new minister for that fact. They are summoned on their actions. We could not have people coming, pitching on our summons call, and others on our, can just go. I think those who are present, I support that, must present, and those who are not here will still come and present. We're not going to let it go. But I support the break, so we will also get a legal opinion. There is nothing in the world more important than the constitution of our country, and that is that we will all be treated equally before the rule of law. People were summoned, they will come and testify and read out and be questioned like all the others did last week. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. No, I think maybe one must first welcome the decision of the President. I think it gives clarity to some problems that we had in the department, but also looking at the transparency reasons and other measures, maybe we must allow the panel to present and account on behalf of the portfolio, because our decision, Chair, was not to remove or have a new minister either way. We wanted accountability and transparency in the process. So the transparency that we needed, it's still needed, so that it guides even the minister on continuation and running the department. So I do believe that they must present. And if needs be, that we still need to see Dr. Nkabane, we will call her on her private capacity of the role that she played in the panel and in the establishment of the panel, and how she came about to SETA chairpersons. Thank you, Chair.
Dr. Nkabane.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues and all the invitees. Look, Chair, I support your proposal. From my side, Chair, I don't know where this portfolio committee have to decide. I agree with it to take.
Zondo.
I agree with it to take the people who caused this chaos into account. That one definitely I agree. Well, what I would like to guide, Chair, the committee is its responsibility holistically to hold the Department of Education account and to make sure that the student that we are serving benefit from our presence here. That's what I would like to focus on. And we need to decide as this committee whether we are a commission of inquiry or forever taking people to questioning people and all those stuff, or we want to clean up the higher education and make sure that those that are evasive are taken into account. That's a thing we need to decide. What I would caution us is this prolonged and protracted of dealing with these people whom you see that they are evasive, and we have to rope in the arms of the law or the legal part to take them into account, because we cannot be protracted on endless, similar to commission of inquiry of all those sort. I actually congratulate this committee for what it has achieved with the President's announcement. This committee have done very well. And we to continue with what we're doing. No one must come here and think we are fools and do as they wish and corrupt the entity and rob the children that needs to benefit from this department of their future. So I think I support, Chair, what you're proposing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Souls.
Honorable Chairperson, there's wisdom in knowing when to stop and move on. This cannot now become about the former minister. It was about accountability and what was done wrong. The question before us should not be, should people be held accountable? The answer is yes. The former minister should be held accountable. The question should be, should that accountability process continue in this committee? That's the question. There are other processes, parliamentary processes, where she would have to appear. And the statements that we received was what we were going to use as evidence to probe. If I'm now going to ask these questions again, Chairperson, I'm going to get answers like I'm answering for myself. I'm going to get answers like, and what are we going to use it for? Let us not be emotional. We have achieved our aim. We have done what was in our power to do. Let's now hand it over to the other structures to deal with it, and then we provide oversight, because it's still a matter that impacts our committee and our sector. So we can be watchdogs over it if we want to. But here, let's move on. Let the evidence be given in the other structures where this matter will still be continued to be heard, and let us continue with what we still have jurisdiction over. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I like how you guys time yourself. 4 seconds left, 3 seconds, you close it. Today, you are doing well for yourselves. Colleagues, there's a principle in law called the principles of natural justice. What does it do? It says if somebody alleges, in order for you to give an opinion over what somebody has alleged, you must give the other person who is alleged against a responsibility to respond in order for you to close the matter, right? So, legal says that the minister, we were questioning whether the minister lied to this committee. This is what we're doing here. Whether the minister lied or misled this portfolio committee by saying that she had an independent panel that dealt with the matter. That is why we asked the meeting. I will refer you to your own resolutions of the meetings of the 18th of June. What do you say there? You said we want to get to the bottom of whether the minister lied or not. And therefore, Chairperson, write to the panelists and ask them to give us written responses by the 25th of June and tell us what is it that, what was their role in this thing, whether this thing existed or not. But you colleagues said, we want to prove that the minister lied or did not lie. So that is the primary reason for this thing. That is what, now the minister, whether she lied or not now, there's nothing that we will do. She's no longer in our space. There's a different committee that now can deal with that particular issue. This is the ethics committee that Honorable Khakhau did there. But we can't, when we continue with the matter, legally, Phumelele, maybe help us. Legally, how will us continuing with the panelists help this committee? Because you remember, committees are created under Section 55 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa on behalf of Parliament to do specific job, which is to do oversight of the ministry and the department of that particular issues. So we can't deal with issues, for an example, on social development, even though we're members of Parliament. In this committee, we can't deal with issues of social development. So Phumelele, this is what I informed members. I've given them time to do. I don't remember any of them giving me any legal thing, except us asking that they are consulting. No, you did not. Phumelele? Phumelele?
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings, everyone in the House. My name is Phumelele Ngema. Chairperson, just to zoom straight to the point and the question that you have posed to me, there is definitely nothing wrong with what the members have indicated in respect of their oversight functions within the portfolio that they are mandated to address. However, Chairperson, there is an interface, as you have already pointed out, between the purpose and the actual intention of the meeting for today that is interfaced by the provisions of the Constitution, which in this regard, as you've already pointed, it's Section 55, which gives that power to conduct oversight over the portfolios that fall within the subject matter of the mandate of that specific committee. Then there is also the powers which the committee was exercising within Section 56. But more so, I think the main gist is under Section 92 of the Constitution, which is between subsection 2 and 3. And if I may just quickly, Section 92 is about accountability and responsibility that is placed on the cabinet. And I guess that is where the main part involving the main role player in this matter and the purpose of the meeting was addressing and receiving reports or evidence in that respect. So the interface between Section 92 and Section 55, Chairperson, needs to be unpacked further as for the purpose of this meeting and the conclusion that will be required for purposes of this meeting having started and having gone in the manner with the events that are occurring as they unfold, Chairperson. And so, Chairperson, that being said, and in light again of Section 55 and the department being a continuing entity that is still in place, obviously, that still needs to be maintained for purposes of oversight, as well as for the completion of the report, Chairperson. And in that regard, Chairperson, whatever has been indicated and whatever has already transpired, it is within the powers of the committee to decide and to dictate whether there is still a point for further more evidence that can or cannot help them reach a conclusion as to where the matter is and how far it has gone. And that was the point of our opinion to clarify, Chairperson, whether evidence and everybody who has been called continues for purposes of finding a conclusion into the matter and the purpose that this meeting was initially meant for. That is the main question that needs to be addressed. And I think the last part, Chairperson, I should be speaking to or indicating relates to the other procedural matters as to where best the matter will be located and finalized. As we would understand, there is Powers and Privileges Act, which guides further what specific committees and the rules of parliament and alludes into the powers that each committee has. And as I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with what each member has indicated here, but we need to be certain that moving from where we are and what has transpired, who is best placed in terms of the rules, in terms of the Constitution, and in terms of the powers that are enabled and extended within the relevant and applicable legislation. That was the point in summary of our opinion and suggesting the direction in the manner that the chairperson articulated. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. If you can just give it in English this time. Simply on two things. Whether there is merit on continuing with the reading into the records of the panelists when you know you will not have the right of reply by the minister. And I want to indicate that, remember Dr. Nkabane was brought in this thing as the Minister of Higher Education. She's no longer a Minister of Higher Education. And the probe was whether Dr. Nkabane as the Minister misled this portfolio committee. So I want you to break it down in English for all of us, right? There's well, talking to legal now. Allow legal. The minister was, these comrades or these colleagues were probing the actions of the minister as the Zondo. But you can't disrupt us, please. The probe was into the minister in the actions that she has taken as the Minister of Higher Education and Training. And that is where we entered. That is why no other committee would have probed the matter. It was because she was a minister. So I want you to clarify it for us. She's no longer a Minister of Higher Education. So you are probing her. If, you know, like some are saying, let's continue to probe her actions as the minister, and she won't be able to answer for herself as the Minister of Higher Education and Training. So the probe now probes the actions of the minister in her, and I'm not saying we must not ask, like I've already agreed that the former Minister Blade will be brought in to do something else. That's one we've agreed, and it's not about that here. But here the probe was, your action as the minister has brought us here. And these people are here to give their evidence against somebody, and this particular somebody will not be able to defend themselves according to that natural justice principle. Take us through the Phumelela. Are you saying that is allowed? If yes, what then? What probe are you going to be? What are we doing? Because the person is no longer a minister of this particular portfolio. You'll take us through that particular thing, and I'll then going to go back to responding to members what they've said themselves. Phumelela.
Important to add to you for the
Desiree,
legal person to
close your mic,
respond
close your
to.
mic. And maybe let me indicate to you. Again, we've got rules in Parliament. You know, you don't just open your mic.
Chair, you must also give us
Desiree,
an
you don't
opportunity
just
to
open your
raise
mic,
an important
and you
matter
don't-
that the legal
and
rep must answer.
You don't speak over the chair. Those are the rules. Don't want me to exercise the rules on you. Yeah, no, I will. Yeah, so you.
Is that the committee is doing its functions, and its functions include ascertaining and obtaining evidence and getting information in various forms within the mandate and the provisions that I have outlined, because Parliament is a creature of statute. There's absolutely nothing that Parliament can do, and its committees can extensively and extended do without a direct provision that is guiding the members what to do. So that said, Chairperson, I want specifically as an answer to read section 92(2) and subsection 3B for members without me having to interpret it or give any meaning to it. But as it states, it says, members of the cabinet are accountable collectively and individually to Parliament for the exercise of their powers and the performance of their functions. Members of the cabinet. Subsection 3B, members of the cabinet, in accordance with the Constitution, must provide Parliament with full and regular reports concerning matters under their control. The point we are at now, the chairperson has alluded, the minister has been removed. The minister no longer falls within section 92. But the proceedings of the committee does not stop based on the fact that a specific person has been removed, because the Department of Higher Education still exists. Now, it is the ambit within which you must address what still needs to be addressed, that must be corrected and be fairly and procedurally and legally so. That is my response, Chairperson. Thank you.
No, thank you. There's a clear distinction between ministry and department. The department still exists, we all agree. And we're going, like I said earlier on, we're going to continue with that part. But the, what do you call this thing? The section 92, subsection 2 of the Constitution that says ministers or members of cabinet are individually and collectively accountable to Parliament. Means that Dr. Nkabane is no longer a false part of that. She's not a member of cabinet as things stand. So I fully agree with you. I'm going to give you, I don't know, is that a point of order?
Not necessarily a point of order. I do think it's fair that we are able to register alternative views or differing views. Mine is the legal advisors for Parliament is correct in that cabinet ministers are supposed to come and account. But there's a missing link here that is not being considered. Here's the link. And the link lists in 3 sets of legislation. One being Rule 167 of the National Assembly Rules, read concurrently with Section 14, subsection 2 of the Powers Act, the Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act 4 of 2004, empowered under Section 56 of the Constitution. If Kibala alone, Chapter 5 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament, that subsection 14 of it, it makes specific reference, and I quote open, the committee can summons any person to appear before it to give evidence or oath and affirmation to produce documents. So while it is true that Minister Nkabane is no longer a minister of this reporting to this committee, what is true is that what we are investigating here, what we're conducting oversight here, is not concluded. This committee hasn't concluded its work. And so in order for us to give her the right of reply, which she can deny if she doesn't want to come get it, and then we can fight her to get it. But the bottom line is, if she doesn't want to come here, she's still an MP. It's very easy to give a summons letter to her for her to come here, as is empowered by the 3 sets of legislation that I've given you, as that being the case. Number 2, the point here is, which I think the legal team is saying, this committee can still continue with its work by engaging the any persons. So the argument of ministry no longer being there and therefore ministry no longer having a need to serve before this committee on an unconcluded agenda item of this committee, that argument doesn't hold. So if we're not going to have them today, then committee will have to move that they must be summoned to come back with their minister.
Okay. No one is arguing anything about summons here. No one is arguing. The point here is, when you are doing inquiry, maybe that's the point you guys are missing. What were you doing an inquiry for? Desiree, Are? Yes. What were you doing an inquiry for?
Well-
And if you say you want to continue, you are continuing with what?
Okay, I'll make it very easy, Chairperson, because you signed the letters that went to officials to come and appear, officials and panelists and whatever you want to call them. And that letters were sent to individuals, and it read, a request for information in respect of whoever they are, role in the advisory panel for the selection and recommendation of SETAs Accounting Authority chairpersons. So people were summoned to come and explain their role, not minister what. And I think it is greatly unfair to allow some officials, a advocate to come here on the bar in Joburg, to come and expose themselves, but others, we don't want to do that. And that unfairness is going to haunt us, Chairperson, and really, I also think, we should also investigate the Public Service Commission on some of these matters, because that's also relevant.
Okay.
But we will not stop in getting people here to account.
Yeah.
Same as the previous minister. The officials or the panelist members got letters from you, signed by you, to come and explain their role. And this committee wants to hear that.
Yes. The letters, if you remember, I've said this thing. I don't think we're listening to another. I'll give you Honorable Nkabane. But when we sent them this letter, what was the context? The context was the members were saying, you believe the minister has misled Parliament about this panel. And you wondered, that's why when I wrote the letter, I said they must come and explain their roles. It was in that context of what you guys were doing an inquiry on. So don't move the context out of it. That's why I was saying, when you answer what was the purpose of this thing. That is the purpose of this thing, you know. And I'm going to give you the Nkabane just now. That was the purpose. Now you want to shift goalposts. You want now to do an inquiry on what? That's what you must then answer. No.
Chairperson, thanks. I think, Chair, you need to be fair to us as well. We have strong views as well. And I see other members want to think that they're the only one who have strong views on this matter. I would like to repeat again what I said. This committee is not a commission of inquiry perpetually.
Yeah.
We're not going to delve into that forever. We'll be querying people of what they did before, what they did on the 6th Parliament, what happened. Chair, what I said, I'm repeating again. Let's ascertain the remaining information wherever we can get it. If we get it, conclude by writing our report on the matter after we've gathered all the remaining information to those that we've requested, to supplement on the information that we received last week. And I highlighted again, and maybe it was mild, I said this committee has achieved what it was doing to take the executive to account. So we must gather what is remaining and not be a perpetual commission of inquiry. We are not. We have a lot of work to do to take the department into account on many other work. And we are not going to be focusing on one people only forever as if we are a commission of inquiry of one matter, when we see that this matter has even moved towards its conclusion on its own. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Zondo?
No, thanks, Chair. I think, Chair, I don't want us to be seen as if we are fighting against each other, like there's someone who knows something that others they don't know. But the reality of the matter, Chair, last week, Friday, I said the two gentlemen who were within us in the meeting, I said they should not present their case. And the meeting said they should. And it's not fair to them to that, because they respected the committee and came when we called them, and they were made to present their case on the matter. And I said, because the other ones are not here, let's wait for them. And the meeting said, let this one who are here present. So let's finish up, because we need to present the report of the matter to say that we got to this point. This is what the outcome of the people who were role players in this. So I think, Chair, let's give the rest, because there are allegations from the presentation of last week, which those who are here today, they need to present their case of what they know.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chair. I think we need to be fair on the matter. It will be the last day of the.
Yeah. So the material conditions of last week Friday have changed. Reality is, two colleagues who presented, the minister was going to have a right of reply. That's the big material condition that you are ignoring. I was going to respond because I know that some of you would have said we must ask them to speak, because there's no difference. The minister was still not there last week. Somebody said that. But the material conditions from last week and today are different. The colleagues who presented their case, the minister was going to be given a chance to reply to that part on what they would have alleged, right? These ones who you are saying we must, just because we must be seen to be fair, the material conditions don't allow. They have changed. The minister is not there to respond as a minister on this part. And don't forget, and I agree, this thing can't be a commission of inquiry. By the way, the issue of this panel is not legislated. It's not on any legislation. It was what the minister did herself. That is why it was, when you say it's her that must respond to this issue, it was what she termed an extra mechanism for governance, for transparency. That's what she did. So, unfortunately, the panel itself is not legislated. Even when you want to continue querying it, you know, you must query it with that particular minister in his position or her position as the minister, because it's her who took that particular decision. Lonzi?
No, thank you, Chair. I think, Chair, the principle that we must take here, because we've got an opportunity as the Committee of Parliament to guide the future processes of the department and the ministry. So I don't want this matter to be personalized, that this is an individual matter. But part of the importance of getting the facts of the matter is that how do we avoid this from happening again in the future? And the only way of avoiding this process, because remember, one of the things that we're empowered with as not only members of parliament, but also as portfolio committees, is to introduce amendments to the Higher Education Act. I think it's something that we've always been speaking about. So at the end of this process, yes, the minister is gone, that's fine, we're past that, but I think as a committee, we must be at a level of saying, if we were to bring in an amendment, how do we bulletproof this particular process of appointment of SETA boards, of appointment of NSFAS boards, and many other appointments in the department, such that we don't have this problem? Because actually, Chair, it doesn't only start when the minister lies. It starts in the appointments themselves. When members said, why are we having politically aligned people here appointed? Why are we having children of ministers appointed? So the importance of getting all the facts towards the conclusion of the matter is such that the committee must be able to present before Parliament, say, having traveled this route, we are now proposing that to create much greater integrity around appointments in the department, this is how the process must take place. Thanks, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, maybe if Chair, you would assist this House on giving a guiding or a certain decision where it says, because we were playing a role over this panel and everything that took place, we wanted accountability, we wanted transparency, we wanted to know how did it form part in playing the roles of getting the panelist. Now that the minister is not here, how do we then close this, or which report will seal this discussion in saying this was the stand, or these were the findings from the portfolio in dealing with...
Hold on. Colleagues, you've just spoken. Yeah, please.
So maybe, Chair, if we can get a clear direction on how we close the matter, because we can't close the matter on saying the minister was removed. We did not call for a minister to be removed. We wanted the minister to come and respond. We wanted panelists to come and account. We wanted transparency in the department, because for us to achieve all these problems that we have in the higher education department, it's through accountability and transparency, and us guiding and assisting all their problems in the department and making findings. But now if we'll just stop and say, the minister has gone, so it stops. I just wanted to find out then, how do we close the report? What do we say? Okay, these were the findings, this is what took place, then this is where we concluded that the matter must be closed and deferred to a next committee on the next level. Because us sitting here and debating won't assist either. We have so many challenges in higher education, but at least we must be guided on how do we then close and defer the matter.
Mkhize?
Thank you very much, Chair. And I think there's strong consensus in saying this was a formal process. It has to be closed in a more structured, substantive way, and a substantive report must be produced. And in that report, there should be clear findings on the conduct of the minister. And for you to do that, you need to collect as much available information for you to make substantive finding expressed in writing to make a report. It therefore makes sense, if I move with what Commander Nkabane has also said, to say we have to bring it to finality, but we can't do it haphazardly. There should be a substantive report which is very inclusive of all facts available. It therefore makes it necessary for the members who are present today to also add, for us to make that substantive report as part of closing the issue.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have two proposals on how we move forward. I think the consensus in the room is that we must engage the panelists who are here today so that we can conclude our work. Two proposals. One, you are correct that the material conditions around the minister were different on Friday to today. You are right. That, however, doesn't mean just because she can't voluntarily come and because she's no longer in cabinet, that she's no longer supposed to appear before this committee. That's why then, to make sure that we thoroughly do our job and satisfy your concern about her right to reply, this committee and yourself and the chair you are sitting on give you the power to summon her to come and conclude on the matter. That way you can give her right to reply. So that's number one. Number two, Chairperson, what I'm asking here for us to consider is for us to not have these people go back. We must be able to engage with them today, let us ventilate and move forward so that we can wrap up on this thing. Whether ethics concludes to deal with her and her fraud, that's great. That's what the DA wants in any case. Public protector must do the same. So should the hawks, which they are busy with. So that is not an independent thing altogether. So if we're not agreeing, Chairperson, with yourself on the way forward, then I call that we vote on this matter.
It's very funny that you don't have voting powers. You're calling for a vote. Honorable Khakhau? No, you don't. We have something called ATC in Parliament. Very serious. Parliament is not a Khakhau.
No, thanks, Chair. Thank you very much. Let me start by apologizing for being late. Chair, we must firstly start by agreeing on an approach of closing this matter in a proper way. And a proper way, it's aligning our views and submissions with the legislated processes that leads to the appointment of your board chairpersons, Honorable Chairperson. I'm raising this because of, if we were to sit here and hold people accountable whom are not here, would fall into a trap of a fishing expedition that we see some of the members have embarked on. And unfortunately, this fishing expedition, at the center of it, it's an intention to score cheap political points using this process. Now, let us put issues into proper perspective. We are not an investigative committee. Our role is to play oversight on the work that has been done by the executive. Now, our role in this process was to get an understanding from the minister as to what led or which process has she followed that led to the appointment of chairpersons. Maybe, Chairperson, let me pause here and appreciate the proactiveness of the president, the only commander-in-chief, Honorable Lonzi in South Africa, for responding to the outcry of the people. But we must also equally demystify the cat and mouse battle that we see between the Democratic Alliance, the EFF, including the Mkondo Wesizwe, with an intention of presenting themselves. You know, there is a sudden confidence that is mushrooming from some of the members. As in when we are speaking, we are being interjected deliberately. But that issue will be attended to. But like we have correctly said, we have equally, as much as we appreciate the role of the president in not only taking the correct decision, but the right decision of reaffirming the relevance and the importance of the TVET, of the DHET sector in our country. I'm raising this because of, it cannot be right that when the president has responded to the outcry of South Africans in relation to the position of the minister of this country, especially emanating from processes of the appointment of board chairpersons, would want to reduce this process to a political battle, who would be squabbling as to who started the process and who was not who was not there when the process started. I'm raising this because of when you listen to some of the honorable members, they are basically advancing what they've been perpetuating in the public narrative. I mean, MK is still struggling to grapple as to whether is it the EFF or is it MK who started this issue. We are not interested in those petty political squabble. Our arrangement here or our area of focus is to close this matter in a correct way. And closing this matter in a correct way, it's as simple as this one, Chairperson. One, the minister can be protected, Honorable Chair. I'm worried. I mean, probably there is a need for you to call another security, because as in when we are speaking, people are continuously disrupting us. But the correct way of closing this matter, Chairperson, firstly is to agree that the president has taken a decision of removing the minister, even though that was not our initial call of removal of the minister. Our initial call was the minister to come and respond. So today there is no minister. And second to that, it will be wrong of us as a committee to want to continue holding the minister accountable, who's not the minister, because the process outlines, or the process leading to the appointment of board chairperson, it specifically deals with the minister. It says the minister must appoint. Now, Honorable Nkabane, as an ordinary member, just like myself and yourself, Honorable Mkhize, in which capacity, if other members would want to pursue this matter with the ethics committee through their investigative process, let them continue that, but they must not reduce this committee to an investigative arm of parliament. That is my first issue, Chairperson. The second issue is that we must be able to separate issues in a sense that we wanted to hold the minister accountable. That one is a closed one. But we equally need to scrutinize, Chairperson, as a way of closing this matter in a very nice way, Honorable Nkabane. We need to scrutinize the role of administration that it has played in the process. That one is a separate matter that I believe as a committee we can agree as to when are we going to interact, or when are we going to process this matter of the role of the administration. Because for today's purpose was specifically to deal with the minister. The minister is not here, and we are happy that the president has taken a correct decision in making sure that he retains the integrity of our standing in society as the African National Congress. But thirdly, Chairperson, as a way of closing this matter, I would propose that we do not disregard the role of the administration in the process. I would not want us to wish away the role of administration. We would still have to hold the administration accountable. If it means that we must call for a thorough investigation on a proper role that they has played, we must do that, Chairperson. And with that being said, of which is something that is rare that happens, I agree with the proposal of Honorable Nkabane in terms of the approach on how we should close this matter. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Before you arrived, members were having caucus outside. So maybe I think you also want to have your own caucus. This having a meeting inside a meeting is not helping. Colleagues, I've listened to many of you a lot of times, for a long time. So there's two things here. There's one proposal that says these panelists, when they came here, they were going to read their letters that they'd written to us into the records. And the minister is going to have an opportunity to respond. Now that the minister will not have an opportunity to respond as the minister, the proposal is that we don't allow them to continue, because we will be accused of prejudicing against somebody else. Then the second proposal is that we allow them to read their statements into the record, and then we can summon the minister as, I don't know what, to come and respond to those things. Because she will not be coming as a minister, she will come as a member of parliament to come and respond to one, the allegations that would have been made by the panelists, and she must respond as a former minister. So legal has given us, which I said earlier on, their opinion earlier on that it will not make sense for us to take option 2, but members are saying you have strong views that they must give us those things because they are here. So there's those two options, members. Whether we ask them, so I'm going to ask you to speak only on those, not speak, we are going to vote on those two. So Honorable Khakhau claims that she's a full member because she can act on behalf of an absent member according to the rules. So we'll allow her to participate. Mkize will be, you will watch as we vote. So we've closed the door for voting. Option 1 is we don't ask them to read their statement into the record because of reason provided. 2, we ask them to read their thing into their records. No, we're voting now. What clarity?
I think the clarity is on the language we're using. There's a difference between reading on your record and us engaging. I just
When
want
they
to
read
get
into
clarity.
the record, it means we will engage
We'll
with
engage.
them.
Okay, thank
That is, yeah. So let's hear. We'll start with you. We've closed the door there. Let's vote.
I, Karabo Khakhau, as an alternate member of this committee stepping in on behalf of Mayor Maseko of the Democratic Alliance, vote that the second option, vote in favor of the second option, that the members of the so-called panel are able to present before this committee and that this committee engages them.
Desiree?
Chair, I, Desiree van der Walt, herewith support the proposal that the members read into the records their involvement.
Honorable Souls?
With the understanding that the process of investigating the matter will not stop, it will just happen in another structure. I vote option 2. Which is they don't need to read it in the record here. They can
Okay,
do it
well, that's
within the
option
other
1.
structures. Is that option?
Yeah.
Option what is that?
That they don't read into the record.
Is that option 1?
Yeah.
Then I'm for option 1.
Yeah. Souls, when Alonzi?
I am shocked by Honorable Souls. I can't believe it. But politics is like that. I, Sihle Lonzi, Member of Parliament deployed by the Economic Freedom Fighters, vote that so that we can conclude this matter. All the members who are here must finalize their reports. We must engage with it. Let us not participate in another cover-up. This is what made this matter to
Nkabane?
blow up in the
Yeah.
beginning, and you are helping this committee
Honorable
chair to
Lonzi.
participate in a cover-up.
Okay.
And what we're just humbly asking you,
Honorable Holmes,
please
it's
don't
okay.
repeat the same mistake.
It's okay.
Thank you,
We
Chair.
are voting. I've allowed you to speak. We are now voting.
Thank you, Chair. I, Sihle Nkabane, deployed here by the official opposition in government. I support that we ascertain today the remaining information for this committee, and then we dissect whatever from those remaining panel members, and then we then write a report and conclude the matter once we've gathered the facts for the remaining panel members. Thank you, Chair.
Msazan?
No, thanks, Chair. Members have had a lot to say, including Honorable Khakhau behind me here, who was really expressing his political analysis and his thoughts about a number of things. Chair, I'm going to support the fact that the panel members that are here present their case, and I would have hoped that we would have made a clear discussion that in order for us to deal with this matter, both the former minister and the panel members would have been in the same room, so that we would have dealt with the matter once and for all. But under the circumstances, it appears that we would have to deal with what we have now. Then we'll call her separately to deal with her. Thank you very much.
Karabo?
No, thank you very much, Chair. I, Khaolatli Khabo, member of this portfolio, representing the African National Congress, I vote in favor of option 1.
Okay. Younger?
Option 1, Chair.
You know, this thing of continuing to fight for no reason.
Let's
Why are
close
you
your mic.
fighting?
Why is it I'm protecting?
Let's close your mics.
Went on automatically, Chair.
And 156, I think probably 156. Okay, well, an alternate act as a member. When the member for which the alternate was appointed. Yeah, but what does this mean? When the member for which the alternate was, so the alternate was appointed when? Yeah, but don't you have to wait to see? She was